Hey y'all, welcome back to Barn Shenanigans. What do we got here today? Got a 1934 Plymouth car that I need to get going and give it back to its owner. So this is actually a friend of mine's car, Keith, and he has let me work on it. I've been working on it for way too long, to be honest with you, but that tends to happen when you have a bunch of different projects, like, you know, everything else in here and the shop and just life in general. But we're finally going to start working on it again. Let me walk you around this car. It's pretty cool. Well, let's just start off by saying, how cool is this car? They sure knew how to make these cars just look absolutely amazing back then. I'll give you a quick walk around of it so you can see everything in all its glory. I mean, just the ship and the designs of these, pretty cool. Got suicide doors. Now everything in this interior is actually original. The headliner is still there. Oh, still have a light. I guess that 6-volt battery is still holding on. Sweet. Even the dash in these things are just absolutely awesome. Wonder if the horn still works. It does. Imagine rolling around in this. Now this back window is actually really cool. If you turn this knob up here, it's kind of hard to see, but just trust me, there's a knob up there. And this is how you open and close the back window. And I'm guessing that is old window tint that has, I don't know, just kind of become deformed. Check out the little trunk in here. Now that's cool. I don't think that's original to the car. I think the owner just picked these up because it's 1934 and it's Indiana, but regardless, that's pretty neat. Looks like the original jack, maybe. Alright, I'm going to show you guys something really neat about these cars in particular. Check out these windows here. What a cool design. I crank this up and you can flip this lever back, and then, okay, well, it's going to make a liar out of me. It's a little stuck, but what I'm getting at is you can roll the whole window down, or you can roll just this section of the window down, or you can open this up by turning that knob, but she still needs some tweaking, so that will be on the list of stuff to do. Let me catch you up to speed on this old rig. So Keith has had this car for quite some time. What I have done to this car so far since it's been at my shop, we got it running. It had gas in it from I don't know, like the 90s, 80s, I'm not really sure, but it was enough to stain a deck. Well, at least it looked like it was deck stained. I ended up putting new brakes all the way around, or I should say they're new wheel cylinders, and I repacked all the bearings. I believe the rear end, oh yes, so the rear end of this car originally was busted, and somebody in the past had taken a welder and welded the spider gears inside of there. So, and then the gears broke. When I got the car first running and I'm driving it around and I let the clutch out, I noticed it was only spinning out on one tire. Actually, it was passenger side tire. And it wasn't until I took the rear end apart I found out that the weld broke, and it was just, the power was just being transferred to that axle, or that side of the axle. As luck would have it, Keith found somebody randomly who happened to have one of these cars, and he was making a hot rod out of it. And so Keith bought the rear end out of that car, and I put it in for him. So this has a well-functioning rear end in it. The brakes were working, and then the master cylinder down here decided to say see ya. It left the chat. Take you briefly around this engine. This is a inline 6. These engines are pretty hard to kill. I put a new oil filter on it. Yes, that is an oil filter. That's a canister style. I had to get that online somewhere. The generator wasn't working. I think I had to clean up I think I had to clean it up a bit. I don't know. It's been a while since I've touched this car. Look at how cool these hoods are. Alright, carburetor. I pulled that apart and I have rebuilt it. Let's see. Oh, that's something else we're going to have to do. I got a new fuel pump for it, so we'll have to put a new fuel pump on there. As I mentioned before, the gas tank had a bunch of sludge in it, so the gas tank is currently out of it, and I'm still working on that as well. Now, the latest issue that we've been having with this car is it was overheating. I took it to the Frog Follies here in Evansville, Indiana. I believe it was last year, and she was just not happy. She was overheating. I think the thermostat was stuck in it, so I have a new water pump and a new thermostat coming for it, which is great. So we'll be putting a whole new cooling system on there. Now, check this out. This is really sad. So there's the water pump, and I have removed all the bolts to get this water pump off. Now, do you see a problem here? Not much space. Watch this. It's almost off. Oh. Yep. So that means I'm gonna have to remove the radiator. I don't know, undo this fender maybe, and pull all that off just to get the water pump off of it. That's okay. Oh, there's something else that is absolutely awesome with this car. It's an engineering marvel, and I've never seen this before. Maybe you guys have. If you have, comment down below, but check this out. This car is equipped with an automatic clutch pedal pusher, if you will. So basically, it's, if you want to, you would pull this lever here, and what it would do is it would take the engine vacuum, and if you're sitting at idle, the engine vacuum off the intake manifold would literally push down the clutch automatically. So all you have to do is put it, say we're going to put it in first. So if we put it in first, you can let the clutch out, the car won't go anywhere. Now as soon as you hit the throttle, the engine intake manifold pressure decreases and it starts to engage that clutch. And then if you want to shift, all you have to do is just let up off the throttle and the clutch will go down automatically. Shift your gear, engage the throttle again, and the clutch engages again. Alright, so the first thing we're going to try to do is take off the hood here, and then the next process would be to move this radiator forward enough to where we can actually pull the water pump off of it.
The clamp's missing, so all I have to do is just be careful and just pick up and then pull it out.
I'll grab one side right here, and then if you want to use the other hand, there we go.
That's awkward as crap.
Yes, it is.
Alright, let's set this over here.
We can edit this part out. At least I think it is.
No, you're fine. That's also a line I hear a lot.
We can edit this part out.
We can just edit this part out.
Yep. That's our tagline. We can edit this part out. We can say that a lot.
You know what? I think we need to do a montage of that.
Yeah.
We can edit this part out.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's break these loose.
Okay, so we're going to try to break these loose right here. And hopefully this will allow us to have enough play to maybe move this forward a little bit to get that water pump out. We just need it to move, I don't know, probably about half an inch, maybe an inch.
That.
Move it forward. Hey, look at that.
Hey!
Victorious. Okay.
Holy mackerel.
Oh, look at that. The hole was all plugged up.
Slap that sucker on. We're good.
Yeah. Well, we got a new,
Yeah, that looks yucky.
and you can't see it in here, but the impeller looks incredibly rusty. Yep. That was really, really, really bad. Okay, cool. Wow. That just sped up the process.
Yeah, it's yucky. What kind of coolant's that?
Yeah. The inside of that block has a lot of trash in it. Which makes me wonder how plugged up the radiator is.
Yeah. Because this coolant's sponsored by Hershey, I think.
Yeah. Well, we may just fill this up with some cleaning solution. Take this up there to the front of the house. Take the garden hose and hose it out as best as we can. That's all we can do. These older cars, they could be potentially dangerous because the way these lines come out of here, so you got a line that goes to your back brakes, and you got a line that goes to your front brakes. And newer cars, they have a proportion valve in them. So if one line blows, there's a shuttle valve inside there, and it blocks off the portion that is blown. That way you still have at least front brakes or rear brakes. The problem with this one is if you blew a line, you lose all your brake pressure.
That would suck.
If you were to name this car, Colin, what would you name it?
I would name it Schultzy.
Schultzy? Okay.
From Hogan's Heroes?
I get behind that, yeah.
I see nothing. I was not here. I did not even get up this morning.
Yeah, I was gonna say it needs to either be a World War II era name, or it needs to be a gangster name. Black car with suicide doors.
What's the guy's name from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh yeah.
Babyface. Actually, I don't remember. Comment that if you know who I'm talking about and if you know what his name is. Because I don't remember. It's Babyface something, and he gets mad because he's trying to be one of these known outlaws. And
Oh yeah.
you know what I'm saying? He's got like a Tommy gun and stuff.
I can't remember his name.
Where are we at?
Remember how I commented on the other one was really easy to come off?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I spoke a little too soon. This one did break loose, but she was fighting me. Hey, don't do that. There we go. Here's a little pro tip. If you have some old brake lines, number one, just take your time on them. Don't get in a hurry.
It's a beautiful day outside.
It is a beautiful day outside. But soak this stuff down in penetrating oil, and then just take your wrench. I've got line wrenches, but I was lazy and didn't want to go find them, so you know this works. Just go gingerly, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Sometimes that line will want to twist, but if you just ginger with it, keep going back and forth, 9 times out of 10 it will eventually break loose. But you don't want to just go full tilt and start cranking on it, because then you have a chance of twisting that line, and then you end up replacing the entire line.
I can tell you that from experience. And that goes to the same thing with transcooler lines. Don't do that either.
Basically any hard metal line.
What do you know? Guess what I'm working on? Hard metal fuel lines. Oh yeah. This is a pretty modern fuel pump.
By modern, I mean that design's been around forever.
No, look, that's like new.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's inside the engine.
That's a new gasket too. I think it's gotten one of these before.
It's very possible.
Cool. mean they work. So we're gonna end up taking these fittings out. This here gives you options of like, depending on, I guess, of how your lines are ran. This one, it was coming up from the bottom here, and on this hose, it was coming from the side just like this. And so this gives us the option to put these fittings on, and basically just allows us to have a little bit more of a proper fit, and we don't actually have to rearrange the way that the hoses are on. So this makes it a lot easier. I like having options. And I kind of twist these back and forth depending on how hard they are to break apart. That one wasn't that bad, but kind of tighten it up, twist it back and forth just to rock it to where it's all the way loose, and now that all the gum's out of it. To bring you up to speed, we're taking these fittings off out of here and here, and we are reapplying them to the new fuel pump. And I gotta go get a Allen key because I gotta switch this plug from here to this side because that's where the inlet was for the fuel on this one. All right. Sometimes you just gotta not ask and just tell it to. There it is. Yeah, I would say it had some Loctite in it. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a pick and stuff and get some of this nasty debris out. Just so that way, again, we're not running that through the fuel system because that's gonna just drop down in the bowl and we'll have to change it out later on anyway. So might as well get it out now. Alright. Let's go ahead and we'll go find some Loctite real quick, and then we'll throw some more on this guy here. And then we'll throw it back into the other side so that way it does the same exact thing on the side that we want it to be on. So we don't have Loctite, but we do have the next best thing, Teflon. This will do the same thing for the most part, but it just won't be nearly as permanent. But in theory, this shouldn't really move much at all. Alright, unlike the last person, I'm not just going to absolutely crank on this thing, so that's pretty good. That's pretty German tight right there. So I think we're good to move on to the fitting. There we go. Feels pretty good. Alright, I'd say that feels pretty good to me without going too stinking over tight. We're going to go ahead and try to jump this back down a little bit. Alright. So I would say that that's ready to go back on the car. Sweet. Don't forget your gaskets.
So I finally got the master cylinder out of there. This thing's pretty neat. Check this out. Made in the USA. My goal for this is to tear it apart and see what the internals look like. I would suspect that the piston seal is no longer there because it has absolutely no pedal whatsoever. It's not even building pressure when I'm trying to bleed the brakes, or I should say it did for a little while and then it just completely went away. So let's start tearing this apart and see what we can find. Well, she's apart. And, yep, just as I suspected, she looks pretty crusty. I don't know if you can see this very well. I will fix that for you. There we go. Look at all that dirt.
Dirty girl.
Yeah, she's dirty. There's all the internal components. They're just chock full of junk. Yep. Definitely needs to be rebuilt. I'm just hoping I can maybe actually find a brand new one and just stick it on there and call it good. The cylinder inside there, you can't really see it in this video, but it's not the best of shape. Now, could I take a hone to that? Yes, I do have a brake hone for it, but I don't know if I want to do that right now. So we'll look around, see what online has to offer, and we'll go from there. Well, I think that's about it for tonight. So we've actually made some pretty decent headway.
Yeah.
Next up, we're probably going to work on the transmission. The transmission needs to be flushed. I don't even know if it has fluid in it. I think it does because it hasn't been making any weird noises.
I sure hope it has fluid in
it. Me too. Actually, no, I know it does because I did check it, but it does definitely need to be changed.
Yeah.
So we'll change that out. We're probably going to do some other things on the car, but we're going inside. I'm tired, and that concludes it for today's episode.
And by the way, we're doing something we've never done before. We're doing a series, so stay tuned for part 2, at least. At least 2.
Oh, trust me, there'll be more than 2 videos on this, so stick around. Good night.